guys, I hope this finds you ready to head into the weekend and have some fun since it's Friday. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about conversion factors and converting measurements. And before I really got started, I wanted to point this out to you. This is conversion factors or conversion rates for a variety of different units. And this is in your just a reminder pack that came in this packet, the second packet for math. So you can use that to help you out in these situations. So a conversion rate is a special kind of one, a conversion factor, we also call it. And we use conversion factors to help us convert measurements from one unit to a different unit. Maybe from feet to inches, maybe from pounds to ounces, maybe from miles to feet, okay? So how do we do that? So let's talk a little bit about that. We want to create a ratio. So let's take our example of miles to feet. So we know that 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So in order to turn that into a conversion factor, we're going to want to write it as a ratio. We have two options for how we write that ratio. We could write it as 1 mile over 5,280 feet, or we can write it as 5,280 feet over 1 mile. Okay? And so what's important about which one we choose depends upon what units you want to end up with in your problem. So for example, the other day I hiked 4.75 miles on my hike, okay? So let's write that down. I hiked 4.75 miles, and I want to know how many feet that is, okay? I want to know how many feet that is. So when I look at my unit over here, this is in my numerator, right? It's not in the bottom of a fraction, it's in my numerator. And so when I choose which conversion factor to use, I want to make sure I'm choosing the one that has the unit I want to end up in my numerator. So that's right there, okay? It's in my denominator here. That's not going to work for me because I need it to be in my numerator when I find how many feet are in my 4.75 miles. So I'm going to use this conversion factor right here. So I'm going to multiply. We're multiplying. That's why it's a factor. Okay, so 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Now, when I discovered, back when I was about your age, that if I kept my units in my problem, I could see how they cross-canceled, factor canceled in my multiplication. So if we think about this, we're going to put this over 1, and we can see that we have miles in our numerator here and miles in our denominator here. If we have the same thing in our numerator and our denominator, then those cancel because that's just like having 1, right? And so now I have 4.75 times, this is multiplication, 5,280. Let me grab my calculator. So I get 4.75 times 5,280, and I get 25,080 feet. So that is how far I hiked the other day in feet. Does that make sense? So another strategy you might do is you might put these in parentheses, okay? But keeping track of your units, keeping your units in your problem, and canceling them when you have them in the numerator and the denominator will help you move through these problems. Okay, I have another problem for us. So the other day I went to the post office and I had 2 packages to ship. One was weighed in pounds and one was weighed in ounces, and the post office gave me a price for shipping them per ounce. So in order for me to make sure that I was getting the correct price from the post office, I really wanted to know how many ounces total I had. So as we're thinking about that, you can use the reference sheet. to come up with your conversion factor. So I know I know I need pounds, and I'm going to have 1 pound over here. And then I know that 1 pound is the same as 16 ounces, right? So I have 16 ounces over here. And so my ratio for my conversion factor can either be 1 pound, 1 pound is the same as 16 ounces, or 16 ounces is the same as 1 pound. So I had one package that was weighed in at 1.35 pounds. So 1.35 pounds. And I had another package that was 72 ounces. So that's right here. I'm going to just write that down here so we have that. 72 ounces. And I wanted to, I'm given a price for everything in ounces, and so I want to convert my pounds to ounces. So over here, I want to end up with ounces. So remember, I'm looking for ounces in the numerator of my conversion factor. Okay? So ounces is in my denominator for this one. So that's not the one I'm going to use. I'm going to have to use this one right here as my conversion factor. Okay? So I'm going to multiply again because it's a factor. I'm multiplying. I'm going to go ahead and put parentheses around this just to make it nice and clean so we can see well what's going on. And this is going to be 16 ounces, and this is going to be 1 pound. 1 pound, okay? And I'm multiplying a fraction in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 1.35 over a 1. So I know I'm multiplying straight across, and I don't get kind of lost in my work. I can also see that I have pounds in my numerator and pounds in my denominator. And so I can cancel those units out, and then I see that I'm only left with ounces, which is what I want to end up with. Perfect. That helps me track and make sure that I'm using the proper ratio for what I'm trying to accomplish. So I take 1.35 times 16, and that's 21.6 ounces. And this is 1 times 1 on the bottom, so that's just 1, and I don't have to write that. And so to find out how many total ounces I'm shipping, I'm going to take that and going to add it to my 72 ounces, and I'm going to get 93.6 ounces. So at $1 an ounce, that's going to be $93.60. I might want to rethink my shipping. Okay, I'm going to do one with multiple conversions next so you can see how that works. So the last problem I want to talk with you about a little bit is what's going on my computer right now. I've had computer problems today, and I'm kind of backing up some copy, so I'm discopying. And my copy says that it's going to take 2.5 days. And I'm going 2.5 days, oh my gosh, how many minutes is that it's really going to be consuming with copying all of this data, right? So days to minutes. What kinds of things do we have going on there? So we know a couple of things about our conversions for this, right? We know 1 day is 24 hours, right? And we know 1 hour is 60 minutes, right? So we can use 1 and 2 ratios with this one. 1 day is 24 hours, or 24 hours to 1 day. And we have the same thing going on here, and 60 minutes on the bottom, or 60 minutes on the top, and 1 hour on the bottom, right? And so we're going to start here, 2.5 days. Well, 1 day is 24 hours. 2 days is 48 hours plus 12. That's going to be 60 hours, right? That's pretty easy to figure out just in our minds. But let's use our conversion factors to figure out, okay? So I have 2.5 days, right? And I'm going to multiply that. And over here, I want minutes, right? I want some minutes over here. That's my goal. So the first thing I have to do is convert my days to hours, right? So I'm gonna have my hours in the numerator. So which one of these am I gonna use? I'm gonna use this guy right here. I'm gonna go 24 hours over 1 day, right? And then I wanna convert my hours to minutes because that's what I wanna end up with over here, right? So I wanna have minutes in the numerator. So this is the one that has minutes in the numerator. So I'm gonna put 60 minutes and 1 hour, right? And now I'm gonna put this guy over a 1 so I can see that it's all fractions and I'm multiplying straight across in the numerator and straight across in the denominator. But where do I have units that will cancel out? Well, I have days in my numerator here and days in my numerator here, and I have hours here and hours here. And when I cross all those units out, the only unit I'm left with is minutes, which is what my goal is. So I've got this set up properly, and all I need to do is do the multiplication. So I just have to do 2.5, right? 2.5 times 24 times 60. 3,600 minutes is what I get. It's gonna take to transfer all that data. Let's just hope it doesn't crash before it's done. All right, see you guys.